Jim Rohn is in South Africa and Jim Rohn is in Europe. Hopefully they sleep well. Not pacing the floor, wondered if I've shown up. I wanted Mark to have the feeling, as long as Jim Rohn's there, everything's going to be okay. We all should earn that kind of reputation. As long as you're there, it's going to be okay. If it's in your hands, it's in good hands. That's the key. Next, admit your mistakes. Sometimes you've got to admit them publicly. Sometimes you've got to admit them to each other. Here's the big one, to admit them to yourself. And then here's sometimes, this could be some of the greatest new beginnings, is when you say, I'm sorry. It's a chance to start all over. Next is dignity. Heart and soul. If we were going to use a model for some of these words, it would be Mark Hughes. He had the dignity. He had the heart and soul. Next is faith. Faith in God, faith in others, faith in your family. A big one is faith in yourself. Here's one we all knew Mark for: class of spirit, class of manners, class that understands position, place. Here's a unique one, a touch of humility. The rich must be taught not to be arrogant. The poor must be taught not to be cynical. Some other basics to remember that I used when I was building my organization. Here's a good one. Manage as you build and build as you manage. It doesn't take but a short conversation to find out some people's problems. They have stopped building and started managing. But the key here says, build as you manage and manage as you build. It probably wouldn't be too far wrong to use the old 80-20 rule here. Spend 80% of your time building and 20% of your time managing what you build. But it's easy to get the wrong numbers here and spend 20% of your time building and 80% of your time managing. What made me one of the world's best recruiters? Here was my time management in recruiting when I built my own organization. I spent about 75% of my time recruiting and 25% of my time training. It is easy to get the opposite numbers going and spend 25% of your time recruiting and 75% of your time training. Guess what pays the biggest money? Recruiting, talking to the next person. Talk to the next person. Talk to the person across the street. I shared this with Alan yesterday or today. When we opened India, someone asked me, should I go to India? And I said, if you walk out your front door and look down the street and there's no cars and no people, and you walk over one more street and look up and down the street and there's no cars and no people, you should go to India. Let me give you Mark's philosophy, and it is one of the best. Mark recruited first line at home, and he built down line out of town. He never personally recruited outside of Southern California. He didn't go to Denver to recruit. He didn't go to Dallas to recruit. Right? He didn't go to another country to recruit. He recruited. All of the people he personally recruited were within his scope, where he was. Now, if somebody in Los Angeles knew somebody in Denver, and they got it going and got it started, then Mark made his trip to Denver, but not to recruit, only to advance the business. What a unique philosophy. And here's some of the wrap-up now. The philosophy that makes network marketing, Herbalife style, really fly. Number one, as many customers as possible to represent each distributor, and as many distributors as possible to represent each supervisor volume. Next. This one helped save my life. Work with the people who deserve it, not the people who need it. Follow the example of life itself. Life was not designed for us to get what we need. Life was designed for us to get what we deserve. You don't receive a harvest because you need one. You receive a harvest because you planted one in the spring. And then here's one more, and I'm finishing. I got about 12 of these finishes. This one really did it for me now. Here it is. You can help 1,000, but you can't carry 3 on your back. That helped to change my network marketing career. You can help 1,000, but you can't carry 3. Now, if you were Anthony Powell, maybe you could carry 1. Maybe 2 if they were small persons. But as big as he is, difficult to carry 3. So have you got that one now? You can help 1,000, but you can't carry 3. Here's one of the things I learned that built my business. Put people on their own, give people responsibility, show them how to do their own thing as quickly as possible, as quickly as possible, as quickly as possible. Accept the responsibility for their own sales, accept the responsibility for their own customers, accept responsibility for building their own organization quickly, quickly. Yes, we lend a hand. Yes, they attend our meetings. Yes, they come to our training. But as quick as possible, put people on their own. It's what network marketing, it's what being in business for yourself is really all about. But it's easy to get trapped into spending too much time just helping or letting 2 or 3 climb on your back, use up all of your energy and time, and you have no more energy left for the 1,000 you could help. And now with Michael's help, we continue the journey. Here's the third promise Mark made to me. He said, if we do it right, and I want you to underline those words because in the future as well as in the past, we've got to continue to do it right. As a distributor, as a sponsor, from the medical board to the executives of the company, to the staff that represents and helps Herbalife distributors around the world, to each distributor, here's one of the keys to our reputation of the future, and that's doing it right. And we can borrow the clues from the past because we've done it right that has brought us to this incredible year after 24 years in business. We've done it right, and we're going to continue to do it right. Here's what he said. We can make a positive contribution to the lives of millions of people. Now that staggered my imagination. I could see thousands, I could see tens of thousands, I could see hundreds of thousands. That's not what Mark said. Mark said millions. Guess what it turned out to be? Millions. I learned very quickly to trust Mark's judgment and his vision because in those early years he could see much further down the road than I could. Wow. And over time, he affected me a lot more than I affected him. He taught me more than I taught him. It's true in the beginning I was his mentor, counselor, advisor, friend, whatever. But over time, those years that I knew this extraordinary young man, he taught me more than I taught him. And it's true. With his partnership, we were able to reach and touch the lives of millions of people. What an extraordinary journey it's been for me. Now, some good advice. Here's the list. Fine-tune your listening skills. I know yesterday was challenging, the day before with our special group. It's all been challenging, right? To sort of shut out the world for a while and, let everything have its place out there while we move in here and concentrate on what's being said, the testimonials and the advice and the teaching and the training and all of the stuff that you've had to absorb. But not only here, when you get back, fine-tune your listening skills so that you can listen to some of your own distributors who are ready to move up and maybe you've sort of missed it. And now if you go home and say, I'm going to listen better now than I've ever listened before and see if I can't find some more leadership to gather up, help build the organization,